is truly only one guest that I would want to have as our first guest on the 1st of October, and that is the 14-time All-Star, 5-time World Series champion, first ballot Hall of Famer, Mr. October himself, Reggie Jackson, here on The Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Reggie?
I'm doing good, Rich. Sorry I was a little late calling in there. I've got a bunch of cars, and I'm trying to sell about 30. And I was on the phone talking to some potential guys.
Okay.
So he told me to put something up on the website. So anyway, that's what I was doing there. But I was listening to you talking to your guys when you're off in the air, and you by far got that deal won, hands down. Your favorite guy.
Yeah, Reggie, we were talking about my favorite guy growing up, and Chris Law from
some of your guys did some poor drafting.
Yeah, I know. Jose Canseco's your favorite guy, Brockman, and I growing up, it makes no sense.
I was 8 years old. What do you want from me?
What can I tell you? But anyway, you were my guy, Reggie, and I'm so thankful and appreciative of you calling into the program. First up here on October 1st, who was the one to call you Mr. October, Reggie?
That started with Thurman Munson and who's the other guy? I'm sorry. Howard Cosell. You know, and I want to say too is ladies and gentlemen, and all you guys in the studio, I knew Rich when he was starting broadcasting, full head of nice hair and all that stuff. But and I still watch him today, and every time I see Rich on TV at the NFL Network, I always say, "Hey, I know that guy. I knew him when he was in high school."
That's
and it's really and for me, all you guys, I'm 69 years old. It's exciting to see a guy come to where he is today. And I think just recently you got a radio show, TV show, and I said, my man is still going, and he's still getting better and doing more things. And so every time I see you, Rich, those are the things that I say in my head. Where I saw Joey Porter today back here in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge Steeler fan. I remember when he was playing, and now I'm really excited to see him. He's coaching and he's on the side, and just the career that grows and the changes that happen in people's lives. And I love to see the positive things that are happening to people that I admired and liked. My whole life.
Reggie, I can't say anything but thank you for even remotely thinking that and saying that. So I'm greatly appreciative of you saying that, and you also know my better half as well, Reggie. I know that.
Yes, know Susie well.
I know you met her when she was covering the Angels down here in Southern California. And when I mentioned before in the first segment, when you went to the Angels, leaving the Yankees, I cried myself to sleep that night because I knew you were gone, and what you meant to the Yankees all those years and those great moments in October. So Cosell and Thurman called you Mr. October first?
Yes. Joe Garagiola in 1973 called me the Autumn Child. I had a big series against the Mets.
So what was it about October play that got the best out of you, Reggie?
I think it was just a narrow focus, keeping things simple. I guess maybe in the style of Yogi Berra, see the ball and hit it, put it in play. And I had the ability to keep things small and keep the focus simple, keep the competition between me and the pitcher, and I could narrow everything down to just what was around and just what was going on around home plate. My objectives there was to put a good move on the baseball, to put a good pass on the baseball, so that the team had a chance, the manager was satisfied, the fans were satisfied, ownership was satisfied, that I was putting a good move on the ball, and we had a chance if I impacted the ball. So it was a very short, simple idea I had when I was at home plate.
And when you stepped up to home plate with 2 home runs already in your back pocket in the '77 World Series, what were you thinking going to the plate? Were you thinking, I got to go yard here?
I wasn't thinking I got to go yard. I wanted to go yard. I didn't have to because I think I had already tied the record with 4 home runs. And I didn't know about the in a row stuff. but I didn't put pressure on myself to have to hit another one. I wanted to hit another one, and I can say stuff like this now. I remember Mickey Mantle said to me, he said, "Ed, don't ever let anybody tell you can't go to home plate and try to hit a homer." He said, "So really for me, Reggie, I was only successful 536 times and maybe 18 or 20 times in postseason." He said, "But I tried to hit a homer every time I went up there." So for me, most of the time I went to hit the ball on the fence or over it until I got 2 strikes or until I got into a bind to where I had to put the ball in play for the sake of the team, to drive in a run, to advance a runner. But when I left the on-deck circle, I went to hit the ball for distance.
Reggie Jackson, Mr. October, as he's known on Twitter, at Mr. October, joining me on the 1st of October here on the Rich Eisen Show. You mentioned Yogi Berra. I know he was laid to rest yesterday, and you were at the proceedings. Can you walk me through what it was like yesterday, please, Reggie?
I think it was fantastic. On Thursday, on Tuesday, Rich, I think all the right people were there. Sandy Koufax was there, and Joe Torre and the entire Yankee organization and ownership. His special friends from the neighborhood, the same cardinal that delivered a message and welcomed Pope Francis was there and spoke. And everyone spoke of him to try to talk about his life, the way he lived it with such honor and such complete openness and honesty. His love for life, his love for people, his love for his family, his love for his wife, and his career as a baseball player, that he was such a fabulous person, got overshadowed. And as a baseball player, you would compare him to the greatest players. You would compare him to the Henry Aarons and the Mazes and the Mantles and the DiMaggios. 3-time MVP, finished second twice, third once, and fourth once. In the league when the DiMaggio was in the league, Mantle was in the league, Maris was in the league, Kaline was in the league. All those guys were in the league, and this guy was winning the Most Valuable Player award. It was a pretty awesome thing when you think about his career. But the focus really was on the greatness of him as a person, and the focus on his integrity, and the focus on his character. And what a model for America and for our youth and for even old guys like myself that just admired the person that he was. And, oh, by the way, he was one of the greatest players that ever played.
Reggie Jackson joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. I have about 5 minutes with you left, Reggie, before the hour break comes. So what do you think? Let's talk about the here and now. What do you think of the Yankees' chances in the postseason, which everybody assumes they're going to make? What do you think, Reggie?
I'm pretty sure we'll make it. I think positive we'll make it. I think, our chances will depend on, can we get hot as a team? Can our offense wake up? We scored some runs last night, but we struggled to score, really, and everyone knows we struggle against left-hand pitching. Some of our guys have gotten cold and haven't really turned it around since mid-season. We're asking an awful lot of Alex and Beltran, and the guys that are veterans that have been playing almost too much, if you will, but we've got to have them in the lineup. Alex hit another home run last night, 33 for the season. Our pitching has been in and out, if I can say that mildly. At the same time, any team that would have lost the piece that we lost Mark Teixeira late August 20th, right in there somewhere. And he was on pace for 40 home runs, 120 RBIs, and in contention for the Most Valuable Player award. And at the same time, one of the best first basemen I've ever seen. There are no bad throws when he's at first base. So if you miss that piece, you take that piece away from Toronto, take away Batista, take away the number one hitter or player there with the Cardinals, or take Trout away from the Angels, take McCutcheon away from the Pirates, and see if they limp through as we're limping through, and we're still going to win probably 88, 89 games without the most important piece for us. So, not making excuses, but I'm trying to recognize not to be. I don't want to beat us up too much and expect too much, because we've lost, a player that was significantly impactful for us.
In the 2 minutes I have left with you, Reggie, how'd you become a Steeler fan?
I was raised in Pennsylvania, outside of Philadelphia. I never was a big Eagles fan. My favorite player in high school was Jim Brown, and then Johnny Unitas. And so I went around the league with Willie Davis and those players, and Butkus, those guys. During the 70s and 80s, the Steelers were winning. And during the 70s and 80s, we won 3 world championships with the A's. We were in 3 World Series with the Yankees. We won 2. And at a lot of the awards dinners and a lot of the places where you gathered for award recognitions, I ran into Franco and Joe and Stallworth and Mel Blount and Fats Holmes and Dwight White and LC, and became friends with Brad Shaw's and the Andy Russells and the Blyers. And so I came over here this time, and I needed tickets, so I called the Rooneys and called Franco and got a sideline pass and some tickets, and so here I am. So it's just kind of a club of admiration and appreciation is why I like the Steelers. I love to wear my gear. During the Super Bowl, I put on my Joe Green uniform. So I'm going to go out and buy a Franco Harris shirt now, so I can wear that tonight.
Fantastic. Hey, and you want to ask Reggie the poll question the minute we have left with him, Chris Brockman?
Yeah, Reggie, how many games do you think the Steelers win with Michael Vick at quarterback? 1 or less, 2 or 3, or 4 or more?
Well, I think we're probably going to play 6 with him. I'm guessing 7.
Yep.
And I'm a fan, and so I'm going to be skewed positively. So I'm looking for 5 and 2 out of him.
Okay. Hey, Reggie, I cannot, again, say how much I appreciate you calling in to be my first guest in the 1st of October, Mr. October, and what you meant to me as a kid, as well as an adult. And my wife, she thinks the world of you, too, and what you meant with my family. Thank you. And I'd love to have you in person next time, if that's possible.
I'll be happy to join you, Rich. I'm honored that at my age, you're honored that you get asked.
No, you bet, Reggie. Thanks for calling in. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
You got it. That's Reggie Jackson at Mr. October on Twitter. Go.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.